Star Wars Episode 9 serves as the final film of the sequel trilogy and the Skywalker saga itself by writer and director J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of people are very curious about when it comes to this movie has all to do with the major cameos that will be making their way into Episode 9. Now, we also know that this movie is going to have the most characters out of every single Star Wars movie in history. We already have a total of 8 new characters coming into play here, as well as some cameos that will be a part of the final installment of this current trilogy. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art, and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with one of the plans for the character of Anakin Skywalker in Star Wars Episode 9, and that is, of course, that J.J. Abrams plans to change the character, modify and/or alter the character of Anakin in Episode 9, which serves as the last installment of this trilogy. So what's really intriguing to me is that this most definitely lines directly up with what we have been hearing for so very long now about the character of Anakin being involved in Episode 9. We do know that initially J.J. Abrams wanted Anakin to appear in The Force Awakens, however it never really worked out, and he never made it to the final cut of the movie. We also know that J.J. Abrams wants a lot of the concepts from Episode 7 to appear in Episode 9, so this also makes sense. However, this is where things get a little bit worrisome. Changing the character of Anakin, altering or modifying the character in this movie. What does this really mean, and is this a good or a bad thing for the franchise? Does this mean that it's not going to be Hayden Christensen? Because as of right now, we haven't been hearing too much at all about Hayden's involvement in this movie. Could it quite possibly mean that they're going to introduce Anakin Skywalker in the form of CGI, or something around the lines of what they did with Leia in Rogue One: A Star Wars Story? We do know that they do have plans for the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi to be a mixture of both CGI and an actual actor that'll actually be wearing a lot of outfits of Obi-Wan and similarities of the actual facial structures, and voice actors being involved as well from past dialogue pieces of Obi-Wan Kenobi from the version of Ewan McGregor, and of course even Sir Alec Guinness. So it really does bring one to question exactly what does this all mean about changing the character of Anakin, modifying and altering the character that'll best suit the actual story for Episode 9. Like I say, it sounds like that maybe perhaps we are indeed going to get that hybrid Force ghost that JJ wanted to actually have in Episode 7. And in case you guys have not heard about this, it was an original idea for The Force Awakens where Anakin was basically bouncing back and forth between himself, Darth Vader, and a mixture between the two. Basically, it's 3 stages of this hybrid Force ghost. The first one is Anakin with the hood over his head with some battle scars. The second is a half Vader mask and a half face of Anakin. And the other is a full Vader mask with a hood over his head in the form of an actual ghost. So I really love that idea. Not only is it freaky, it's something completely new, and it could absolutely show us, how Anakin/Vader suffered throughout his entire life, figuratively speaking, of course, for the character of Kylo Ren. So, if we look at everything that has been happening, we've also heard about this before a couple of months ago, about them having plans of mixing, both Sebastian's actual version of Anakin and also Hayden's version of Anakin together, both old and young. So that could also fit directly in line here with J.J. Abrams and crew, and what they have in store for the character of Anakin by modifying and altering the character. Now, like I say, I think what they should do, I'm going to be straight up here, they should just bring in Hayden Christensen, have him act the part, and just give him that nice blue hue and transparency, and then maybe a little changes here and there if they want to make him a little bit older, just to make him a little bit more, I guess you could say, suited for Episode 9 and looking a little bit different. But other than that, they should keep it really simple and basic for the character of Anakin Skywalker, in my opinion. Kind of keep it true to what we saw at the very end of Return of the Jedi. Now, we also know that J.J. Abrams wants to make a couple of things from the original trilogy expanded in Episode 9, one of which has all to do with Obi-Wan Kenobi's line, strike me down in anger and I'll become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. J.J. Abrams wants to expand that idea in this movie with the character of Luke Skywalker. He's within the original trilogy, especially the Force Ghost thing of one appearing young and/or old. So we do know that Luke Skywalker, alright, is going to have scenes with no beard in this movie. Brings one to question, are we going to get a different version of Luke in the form of a Force Ghost that appears to be young, or is that going to be a part of an actual flashback? We have heard of descriptions before in the past that Luke Skywalker will have no beard on, where he's actually going to have footage shot that will be mixed with both Leia and Han Solo, indicating that a reunion scene is on the way for this movie. As far as Anakin goes, guys, I gotta say, I think that the hybrid Force Ghost idea is cool. I know a lot of you guys out there may very well be against it, but I think it's a real unique and scary idea and a great way to introduce a new version of Anakin, but at the same time, it is a risky move. I think everybody wants to see the original Anakin that we all loved and saw at the very end of Return of the Jedi, and of course in Revenge of the Sith. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.